Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Zach, the Money Nutritionist, and let's go ahead and talk about what to expect in the coming months when it comes to the stock market. When you get a chance, please go ahead and smash that like button because it really helps me out and helps me to reach more people. Let's go ahead and jump right in. In short, the last few months have been the most volatile that we've seen in the past few years. But it's created unprecedented opportunity for both you and for me. On one hand, I believe we'll get back to normal sooner than expected, but on the other hand, the stock market may have bounced back as if we were going to get there a bit sooner than we actually will. I do expect up and downs until we get back to a normalized stock market. If you look at this graph, the broad stock market has moved largely according to how companies appeared to have progressed dealing with the virus. But the most important piece of all this is you need to think long term. Yes, you can make some short term trades while things were cheap, but you are investing for the long haul, not trying to make a few couple $100. You're trying to make thousands and you're trying to invest for retirement. Don't forget that. Now that's the shorthand answer. If you want a bit longer explanation, here's what else you need to know. This COVID-19 thing has changed our lives permanently. Just as 9/11 changed how we were flying and security, this is also going to change things. Airplanes may not fly at full capacity. We may always have to have thermal testing before you can enter certain places. Restaurants might separate their tables more. I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen? But this is going to go on for a while, and most likely it's because I don't foresee us getting rid of COVID-19 entirely. The key here is that all of us, meaning your family, my family, all of our friends, that we all can get through this healthy and safe. And hopefully you don't know anyone who is in trouble due to this virus. But outside of being healthy and staying safe, we also want to make sure that you don't have a financial burden from this outbreak. If you lost a job, you'll most likely start working at some point once businesses reopen. People will eventually start spending money again. People will start traveling again. Everything will slowly start getting back to where we were in time. Of course, there's going to be things that are unexpected, like what's happening with the meat market. Are companies going to pull back to the States out of China? What are supply chains going to look like for medicine? So there will be some unanswered questions. Now again, you want to keep an eye on the long-term gain here and what you can do for 5 to 10 years out. So in the US and Europe, most likely we're going to make a ton of changes when it comes to travel, restaurants, whatever those things might be. We're going to make a lot of changes. But I would expect that the fastest growth will continue to be emerging markets, especially consumers in emerging markets. And you may not be thinking about this yet. I've been preaching it to everyone close to me, but inflation is coming, so prices are going to rise. You can't print trillions of dollars worth of cash and not expect for the dollar to devalue itself over time. So I'm going to predict that emerging markets will continue to grow. We did just have the 2 most volatile months we've had in the last 30 years. And so you could get oil for 30 cents. You could get some of the biggest tech companies cheap, and they were undervalued at the time. And things are slowly now starting to pick back up. I can't say that the stock market won't continue to go down or go down again, but this was one of the worst drops since the Great Depression. Smaller companies in the US just got extremely cheap when compared to larger companies, and this is the cheapest they've been in recent history. If you take a look at this chart, at the end of March, global companies became about as cheap as the bottom of the financial crisis and the dot-com bubble. This substantially increases the future return opportunity, much of which was realized in April. When it does come to China, most likely they'll get back to growing at a pretty quick rate, but that rate won't be as much as it was prior to the COVID-19 outbreak. When it comes to other Asian countries, Japan, Taiwan, South Korea, and Singapore will most likely recover first. Emerging markets in Asia will recover, and while that's happening, Central American countries and South American countries, it's going to start getting a bit colder there. So those countries will have to manage the COVID-19 outbreak as those numbers may start to increase. They are saying that we'll potentially have a vaccine for COVID-19 by first quarter of 2021, but we really don't know. If your investment strategy relies on the vaccine, then you really want to make sure you're A, diversified, and B, that you have some type of risk management strategy in place. I do expect that testing will increase even if we don't have a vaccine. But of course, each state and locality will be different from one another. So other than emerging markets, keeping an eye on places that are going into their winter season and us probably having more testing than we do right now, with the understanding that we don't know when a vaccine is coming, I do expect things to slowly get back to normal, but I don't foresee people rushing into restaurants immediately. It may take some time for people to feel comfortable going to big events, restaurants, and things like that. But don't forget, when times like this happen, we do create great things. Newton discovered calculus, for example. Modern medicine was born, and now scientists are innovating more than they ever have. And a lot of science has actually been blown over because of COVID-19. For example, the first person in the UK was actually cured from HIV. So there's a lot of innovation going on right now, and there's also a lot of opportunity. There's opportunity in the US and there's opportunity abroad. There's opportunity for you and there's opportunity for me. Just because you make money doesn't mean I can't make money, and vice versa. There's enough for everyone to have opportunity to win when things are down. Because think back to 2008. Wouldn't you have loved to have grabbed real estate, stocks, and things of that nature when things were down? This is that opportunity again. No one would have predicted that mortgage-backed securities would have caused a downturn in the economy, just as no one would have assumed that a pandemic was happening right now and going to tear apart economies across the world. And this is something you have to be prepared for. And the best way to be prepared for the next recession after this one, assuming we're in a recession right now, which we most likely are if you've seen my other videos, then you need to be prepared and get started now. Please take full advantage of this opportunity. Make sure to check your portfolio, check your diversification, check your risk management, and if you have any questions or any insight that you may want to share with me, put that in the comments, give me a shout out, check out my website. You can follow me on Twitter or Instagram. And if you haven't already, smash that like button. Money Nutritionist out. Thanks for watching. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook to stay updated on the latest. But more importantly, to stay updated on YouTube, press the subscribe button below.